My name's Joshua Lloyd. I'm the barman in the Choir of Man. And the Choir of Man's sort of set in a sort of Irish, Scottish, British pub, very quintessential pub. And there's nine sort of archetypal characters sort of within the bar. And I play the barman, so sort of speaks for itself. I'm behind the bar serving drinks. But we sort of throughout the show address sort of men's mental health and mental well-being, just of the current state of the world at the minute. But we do that sort of through a more fun, energetic sort of way through pop songs, rock songs, folk songs, songs spanning sort of all ages. And it's sort of been said to be sort of one of the best pub gigs that anyone's ever been to. But at the same time, like I say, we sort of address sort of men's mental health and the pub being a safe space, not just for men, but I guess sort of men are sort of known to be in the pub where they can open up to friends or or have a little bit of time on their own, just to sort of have a breath. And I think the world's so hard at the moment, so it sort of really resonates at the moment. Yeah.
And obviously, you've been with the show a little while now. Kind of what first drew you to want to be part of this world of the show?
Yeah, so I've been in and out of Quiet right now for about 8 years. And I guess sort of a pub, obviously. I love sort of going down to the pub, having a drink with the lads. Um, but I think it is the sort of the addressing the mental health aspect of like addressing it and not being scared to say men have a rough time at times. Um, and that being a safe space, like I say, not just for men, but for everybody. And the community within the pub is really top of the list.
And obviously, like you say, you have performed it kind of London, Sydney, worldwide. What's it like now that you get to continue that journey on the first UK tour of the show?
Yeah, it's really nice to bring sort of the pub home, and the same. That's I think that's the same for sort of every individual. Obviously, like I say, I personally have done it everywhere, but the UK really. Like I've sort of been in and out of London, and we did a little stint in Cov. But apart from that, I've always done it sort of. I did the Australian tour, I did the US tour, I've worked on cruises with it. Um, so to bring it home and see how that resonates with home and like with family and friends, and that being special for each individual person, actually is quite special because the show, in my opinion, is very special anyway. But then to do it at home in front of a home crowd, it really resonates differently, and it's been really interesting to see sort of the demographic nationally and how it's sort of perceived, and actually it's been really well received everywhere, just like we have globally. I think there's something very special that it sort of resonates no matter who you are, where you are, what you are. It sort of hits home and is really is a real escape, which I think we need at this point in the global economy. Everyone needs a little escape just to sort of switch off and just have fun and enjoy yourself. And I think that's what we really do, and pride ourselves that we do it reasonably well.
Agreed. And then, as you touched on, kind of the archetypes of the characters, but you kind of are playing characters, but you're also kind of playing yourselves, aren't you? Kind of, how do you kind of manage that to kind of blur the lines of the barman and Josh as a person?
Yeah, yeah. I always say, like I say, because I've done it for so long, and sort of we'll get new guys into the cast and stuff. And I think the best way I can explain it is it's a version of yourself, um, and that's sort of you can say take certain aspects of your own personality and sort of attach it to. You don't need it doesn't need to be me on stage, but there are definite aspects that I can relate, and also different days you'll feel different things on different days. So there's different parts of myself that I bring to it on some days I might be feeling not great outside of work, and I come into work and I'm like, right, this is a chance for me to sort of get out of that day funk, and I can come in and really enjoy. So I think that's the best way. My dad also was a barman for sort of, he was a professional barman for like 30 years. So that was also quite special because I can sort of take that and bring that to the character. But yeah, for the lads, I think it's just bringing aspects of yourself, and then because it can be quite vulnerable being yourself on stage because everyone's judged. That's what we do as a job. Unfortunately, we get judged. Thankfully, we get judged quite nicely in the choir of man. Um, but yeah, it's just bringing aspects of the character because, like I said, there's a character called the Boar, and Aaron, who plays it on the tour, trust me, is not boring in the slightest.
Yeah.
But it gives him chance to bring certain aspects of himself to the character, and I think also that's what makes the audience warm to us so much because it almost feels like you're meeting these people in real life. So you'll come out the stage door and you've got people calling your name, and I'm like, I have no idea who you are, but they feel like they know you. And again, I think that's the beauty of the piece. It is really it's such a warm family community vibe within the pub. So yeah,
And obviously that starts pre-show with the kind of on-stage bar. That must be
yeah,
how, obviously, like you say, you've done it for so long yourself, but what's it like when you have that kind of, you walk straight out and they're on stage, the audience, rather than kind of that usual kind of barrier that you've got?
yeah. Do you know what? At first, I think it's really daunting because you're breaking that fourth wall, and you, like you say, you're meeting your audience face to face, and even get to talk to them and all the rest of it. But when I think once you get used to it and get into it, it almost warms you into the show a little bit because you can prepare the audience almost ready for the show. Because I don't, if for anyone who's not seen it, it's quite an interactive show. We bring some of the audience up on stage, so it almost prepares us and them and warms you up and be like, this is what the night is going to entail. You're going to come with us on this ride, type vibes. And now with the tour, pardon me, we've also put an interval into the show. So we almost have like a second pre-show. We have like an interval pre-show as well. So again, that sort of ramps up ready for the second half, which sort of skyrockets quite early on, and we just sort of sit on that high for 45 minutes, half an hour. But personally, like you say, I've done it for so long. It's really nice just to sort of get a vibe for everybody, and you can sort of warm the audience up before you've even started the show, which I guess is in our benefit and really does help sort of warm that night up and be like, right, you're on this train now and it's time to party, sort of thing.
And as you touched on there, the show now has an interval. Has that kind of changed your approach at all to having that kind of break in the middle where you didn't have that before?
It's nice to have a little drink in the middle of the show. I'm not going to lie. It's nice to have a little glass of water before we get going. Um, I think personally, it really sets the second half off really well. It really, what we do, I won't say what we do, but in the second pre-show, um, we sort of really do start to get everyone going, and I really do think that you works really well as like a trampoline, a springboard into the second half, and really sort of get everyone going. And like I say, the second half's about 45, 50 minutes long, and that really sits at sort of on a scale of 1 to 10. You're sitting at sort of 7, 8 from the beginning, and then we only go up. So I think it does really benefit the show personally.
And obviously, the show uses a variety of skills, including obviously the bar work, acting, singing, dancing. Kind of how do you combine everything and maintain that?
Yeah, I mean, I get we're all, or most of us all went to sort of stage school or some sort of training of some sort. So we're all sort of musical theatre, triple threat performers. Um, but I think this show is unique in itself that it brings sort of, especially like musicianship, like we all play some instrument at some point. Some of the guys obviously play a lot more, and one of the characters, I believe, plays 4 instruments. Um, but it's something I guess, especially in the industry now, is it expects so much of you. It's almost we haven't got time not to be at the top of our game, and we haven't got time not to be able to dance, not to be able to sing, not to be able to sort of act. And like you say, I've served beers throughout, so trust me, when I'm out of work and I'm a barman, that comes into play as well. And the sort of playing instruments is a massive part. But I just think that's how the industry is, and yeah, it's hard work, but we love it. Everyone loves it so much that you are prepared to put that. Because some guys also, like one of the guys, the tapper handyman, plays trumpet, and a lot of the guys who come in and play it don't play the trumpet, but they're always really eager to learn. and 9 times out of 10 they learn to play the trumpet for the show. And so I just think it comes into the guys that are coming into the show and that are castings that are just really passionate about what we do. And that's, like I say, not only for the show, but they just want to give that sort of for the audience. And again, like I was saying, it's just an amazing night out just to switch off, release, and just have some from the world that's quite difficult at the moment.
And do you think the reaction to the show has changed at all, kind of post-pandemic and the world we're in now, the kind of, I don't say it's darker world now, but kind of the what's going on in the news at the minute and things like that?
Um, I think we've always had, luckily, a great reaction. But I would only say it's probably getting better
Yeah.
for that exact facts of like the world is so hard and it is rough and people are having a rough time. But literally, when you walk through our doors for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, you literally can switch off and just have fun and enjoy it and sort of forget about what is going on in the world. And I think that relates to how people in the community do use their sort of their community spaces even now. It is a real space where you can just switch off and not listen to the news and hear what everything that's going on. It is a place where you can just, you know what, I'm having a little time for myself and a time to recharge and have fun. And whether that's on your own, whether that's with your friends, whether that's with your family, it's a place you can really can charge. And I think that translates really well into our show of, like I say, you walk through and then it's time to just have fun and enjoy. And if you want to drink with that, if not, like it really doesn't matter. It's just a time where you can enjoy.
And obviously the poet kind of delivers the monologues kind of between the songs. What do you think you would say if you were playing the poet and you could add your own monologue to it?
Wow, that is a question. Um, I think it's so hard because the guy who Ben Norris, who wrote all our speeches, is an incredible wordsmith. He can spin words and make things rhyme that don't rhyme, and he sort of says everything so well. Um, I'm I'm not as good with words as Ben, but I think it is just you would just say sort of coming in, enjoy, and like I said, it doesn't matter who you, what race, what creed, what color. It really doesn't matter. Anyone can enjoy this time just to relax and switch off and just have fun. And like, there's been people in the audience who have come and they don't know each other, but end up leaving as friends. And I think that's so beautiful. It's a place that we have a common enjoyment. Doesn't, like I say, it doesn't matter who you are, but you can come in a stranger, but you leave a friend. And I think that's so special. So yeah, I guess that would sort of be my message. Come in a stranger and leave a friend.
Yes, and we can't not mention the kind of community project that you're doing as well on each venue, kind of working with the local choirs.
Yeah,
Such a great thing on the first night.
yeah. Every opening night, or actually, we're here in Sunderland this week, and it's happening Tuesday and Wednesday. We've sort of doing like a community project where community choirs come in, they watch the show, and at the end of the show, we sing one of the songs from the show again with the choir, which has been really special. We don't get any sort of rehearsal with the choir. The choirs come in slightly early and they rehearse with our music captain. But yeah, it's a really special moment, and it's special for the audience as well, because of it just is a moment where we all connect. And like I say, with no rehearsal, we managed to sing this song in 9-part harmony, which is hard enough in the show, but it goes flawlessly every time we do it, and it is very special. And I would push if you can get to the first night of the venue, please do because it's quite a special moment. But yeah, this last week in Manchester we had 300 in the choir, which was really special. It sort of fills the auditorium with a beautiful sound. So yeah, it's a really special moment, and I'm so glad we get to do it and reach out every week.
Yeah. And then for you, what would be your go-to pub snack if you were going to the bar?
Go to pub snack. Either dry roasted nuts, or this is horrific, pork scratchings. I
No?
love pork scratch. It's a pint and a pork scratch, and you can't go far wrong.
Yeah, agreed. And then for you, what was the kind of first piece of theatre that had that big impact in your life that you maybe thought, oh, this is for me?
Yeah, I was never really a theatre kid up until about the age of, I'd say 14, 16. It was about then my mum took me to see mum and dad took me to see my first West End show, which was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which was great, but didn't quite set me ablaze. But then we did go and see Billy Elliot at the Victoria Palace. And I remember at the end of that, I said to my mum, I think I want to go and do tap dancing. And at this time, I was playing rugby. So I think it sort of took my mum back a little bit. But for anyone who hasn't seen Billy Elliot, the last scene is all the miners. They go to sort of the back of the stage on a lift, and they're singing a song and they dip down. And I just remember my mum turning to me, and there was tears running down my eye, and she was like, "Are you okay?" I just was like, "This is amazing." And I think that was the first time theatre really was like, this is cool. And I didn't know particularly why, or I just knew I really enjoyed it and thought it was really cool. So I'd probably say, yeah, Billy Elliot, I saw it, like I say, in the West End, the Victoria Palace, donkeys years ago. Um, that was pretty special. That was the moment. That was the first time in my life I sort of went, I want to do something theatrical. And then it sort of just rolled on from there, to be honest. Like, did tap dancing, then I sort of did my first amateur dramatic show, and then it got to a point where I was like, oh, I think this is what I want to do for a job. And it took a little while, don't get me wrong, of deciding, and everyone's sort of going, are you sure? Because no one is theatrical in my family. Sort of my brother's a builder, my dad was sort of a warehouse worker, my mum was a nurse. So everyone was like, are you sure you want to do this? And that was it. And luckily, I've finally made it.
And how do you kind of reflect on the journey you've had so far and the shows you've done and where you are now?
Yeah, like I say, I've done Choir of Man and off for 8 years. I was very lucky. A few years ago, I got to do the UK tour of The Lion King, and last year, sort of spanning 2 years, I did the Chicago UK tour. So I've been very lucky in the work that I've done and sort of sung all over the world on cruise ships with various groups and stuff. Um, and I would never have thought when like 16-year-old Josh would never have thought I've taught the world with work, um, and I feel very lucky. Everyone says, "Oh, I'm just lucky to do this." I also think paired with that is the want and desire. You can't. You have to be in the right place at the right time, and then luck sort of kicks in. But you can't have the luck to do what you do without being in the right place, if you know what I mean. Um, so yes, I am very, very lucky and extremely happy to be where I am. But on reflection, it has also been a lot of hard work. And like I say, I've toured pretty much most of my career. So being away from family, and you miss weddings and you miss funerals and you miss anniversaries, all of that encompasses sort of how much you put into it. And that's not a woe is me. I'm like I say, I'm very lucky, and it's an extremely special job to have. Um, but yeah, looking back at my journey, it sort of went the first 2 years of my career coming out of stage, I didn't do anything. I sort of did finals for everything and auditioned for everything, but never sort of got anything. And then it just took one job and one person to go, we're going to take a little risk on this guy. And I've been very fortunate, touch wood, that my career has sort of had a very nice upward trajectory, and hopefully it carries on. Um, so yeah, I think it's a job where you get to give people you don't even know quite a special gift. Um, so I feel very, very blessed to do that as a job.
Superb answer. And then you kind of touched on this throughout anyway, but my final question, what would you hope an audience member takes away from seeing The Choir of Man?
Um, just a sense of joy, happiness, and I just hope we give. I think respite is not quite the right word, but it is 2 hours of respite, whether that's from their life, whether that's from the world. It's just 2.5 hours of complete joy, happiness, and yeah, I guess it is respite, but it is just it's that sort of taking you away from the world in which we live in right now, which for some people is very hard, and for 2 hours we get to do the opposite of that and let you live in a world that is happy, joyous, and hopefully makes you smile from ear to ear and tears of joy come down your face.
Well, Josh, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. It just leaves me to say, Choir of Man, the tour continues. It's currently booked until the 5th of December. It may go on beyond that.